Did you know I have a film crew everywhere I go? You're just a part of my movie.
You all know I'm silly too, right? Yeah. Did I tell you my Dr. Idiot story yet?
Yes. Your dad calls you Dr. Idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah. You didn't quite get it the first time.
Yeah, I am Dr. Idiot. I mean, all my sons call me that, my students. Every student that's graduated in the PhD system, they know they're Dr. Idiot and they know their number. I think we have Dr. Idiot 9. Friends, when we put biochar in the cycle, what happens? Just like when we have lots of sun in the water cycle, what happens? Things start moving fast, right? Things start moving fast. So the biochar. I'm an assistant professor in sustainability and happiness at the School of Sustainability in the College of Global Futures. I have a fundamental principle where I own 4 or 5 work shirts, and then I own 1 pair of work shorts. And that's just the way I've lived for a long time now. And this is them. And these ones actually happen to be brand new. After 6 years, I changed out my other pair of shorts. I'll go into a room and people are like looking for the professor and I'm standing right there. You know, it's like that type of stuff will happen. But other people will see me and be pleasantly surprised, you know, that there's someone that they can talk to. They know that I'm living in my authentic form and they can show up in their authentic form too. You'll have to cut the sound on my power steering club. I'm really invested in places that are just wanting to build connection and get back to the way of understanding our connection to nature. If we all do that in a local context, it can be really powerful. We're at Mill Avenue Midwives and we are at the birthing center and we planted a tree and dug some lines for some irrigation just to get some plants going. The center is just a place of healing. It's a place where people can have healthy births as a family. It's a place where midwives are able to interact on a piece of land to help support community and family. You can see the land. It's a piece of land that families can walk around and interact with. There's a little place for kids to play. You know, we could take this citrus tree and make it its own little biome, its own little microbiome. And for me, it just says everything that sustainability is. It's feeding community. It's helping kids understand where fruit comes from. It's providing habitat. It provides shade. It nurtures soil. It creates biodiversity. It's a really win-win project for us. I grew up in New Hampshire, land of the Abenaki. I had a pretty good life at the initial stages. You know, in my teens, like things started really kind of just fall apart, and like my family was struggling, my parents were struggling, they got divorced. I used to go into the forest when I was upset or worried. There I got to learn from the forest, I got to learn from the ocean, I got to learn from the mountains. They were my teachers in ways, you know, and I didn't have the words to describe that, or I didn't know that things were different until I left, until I went into the military, and then I realized that, you know, that natural environment I had was very unique and special, and not everybody has access to that, yeah. Well, I was working on weapon systems, yeah. So electronic engineering, maintenance, firing weapons, those types of things, yeah. But I knew going into it, it didn't feel right. It didn't feel for me. It felt like something my dad wanted me to do. And, you know, I did it because I knew I needed to get away. And I think my dad knew I needed to get away, and that's why he wanted me to do 2 years. But I decided to do 6 just to show him I knew something. Like, I was very egotistical, and you know, parts of me wish I hadn't done 6 years because it was a long time. The stuff you see and experience in the military, it's not normal. Out-of-body experiences where I was holding a gun, pointed at people that were getting off of a ship that was sinking, and asking myself who that being is that's holding a gun, pointing at someone that's dying as they're getting on our ship. And then I saw other people in other cultures and other places that were playing in like oil slick, trash-filled water. It's like this whole time that I was in this place, I had this identity that I was stepping into that felt so foreign from the kid standing in the forest. When I got out of the military, I had no reason to go to college other than play basketball. And so I went to play basketball, and then I sat in an environmental science class, and I realized that I could use my intellect to support nature. And so I started thinking about what I would design for, and that's how happiness came in. And I was gonna go to Humboldt State to do environmental engineering, but decided to go back to University of New Hampshire. So I went back and went there for a bachelor's, and then realized I wanted to stay for a master's. Toward the end of that, I was realizing that maybe food systems was the place I wanted to study, sustainable food systems. And I applied to Cornell to study sustainable food systems. And Cornell's an interesting place because it's rooted in farming, and it's rooted in being of service to communities and in service to farmers, and that really spoke to me. So I worked on some projects in service to community during my PhD, And that just like lit something in me big time. Like, we can do this work and we can learn and we can teach and we can research and study all in a container where we're being of service to something bigger than ourselves. And that just resonated with me coming from the military and seeing all the destruction we were causing. It just resonated as a way for me to give back. Part of the reason I went to get the PhD was for my ego, to be able to say, oh, I'd be able to be Dr. Cloutier now. And like, was so excited to tell my dad that I was Dr. Cloutier, and I called him and I said, I'm graduating. He was like, oh, I'm so proud of you. And I said, oh, yeah, I'm Dr. Cloutier, you have to call me that now. And he goes, no, you're Dr. Idiot. And I was so mad at first, and he's just laughing on the end of the line, and he kept laughing so long that eventually I started laughing too. And it just made me realize that it just doesn't matter the accolades I have. It doesn't matter what I've done. It doesn't matter who I am. And I feel like what my dad was giving me was the gift of reminding me that I'm always an idiot still, and that I'll never not be an idiot. And it's just, yeah, it's a beautiful gift. And I try to pass it on to my students. If you leave this class, I want you to remember that healthy is a perspective. And then the third thing is its place in the cycle. And every single engineering degree, and even in the military, we had the same thing too, where things would be as cheap as possible, barely meet environmental regulations, and to be honest, look like pieces of shit in most cases for me. We can just do better. Like, we can do better. And it's, it's just crazy. It's crazy to watch, like, the way that we treat each other and the world that's... Maybe we need to start sharing our water more, or maybe we need to start giving away the things that we have, or maybe we need to change the way our systems of work are set up, or maybe we need to change the way we're educating each other, or maybe we need to change the way that we dress, or the way that we eat. And if we design from the human heart to create connection, to create reconnection, to establish the greatest amount of equity or equal access to things as possible for everybody, or at least what they would like to experience and explore, then I think we're being more responsible as engineers. But I'm just an idiot. I have one perspective.